and has refused to eat. And that guy would come and beg me, but this time I refused. On Thursday, I refused. And he said, your passport will get here today and the rest of your things, because I'm told they have you left behind your phone and whatever. Yeah, I said, okay, if my passport is getting here today and we move, you don't have to worry. I'll eat when I get home.
Yeah.
At some point, that guy brought oil and massaged my feet. They were still
Really?
swollen. Yeah, yeah, all that was happening, and I later,
Really? It's bizarre,
I,
you know?
but I later realized they had sent him to get information out of me about what I'm going to do if I'm going to go after them. So by this time, they have realized I'm not really an ordinary person.
Wow.
He came already telling me, "You are a lawyer. You will know what to do. You can." But now, for now, preserve your energy, eat so that you go back to your family when you have some energy. You can
So he was
take
trying to
whatever.
be he was trying to be the nice guy, trying
Yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah. And I am sure he went and told those guys that I've said I will actually sue their asses,
Mm,
because I will make noise about it.
mm,
Because now Thursday, that day afternoon comes, I still refuse to eat lunch. Around 3 p.m. or 4, that car comes. I know its sound and I know it's the one. And the guy comes and says, okay, now eat some of this, eat some food and we go. If you don't eat, we won't take you. So now the car is here, your passport is here, I have it, but he doesn't show it to me.
yeah.
So now, yeah, I had brought, I think, a stick of either nyamachoma or something. So I eat some, and
But did you did
now
you know did you know what animal you were eating?
I didn't know you have to eat. Yeah, so, but also, like, you're thinking now, I don't think they would poison me or something. But he would even come and say, let's eat together, so that he convinces me to eat.
Mm,
Yeah, so now he leaves, and a woman comes and says, now we are taking you home to your children.
mm-hmm,
But let me first talk to you.
mm.
And she says, what happens in Tanzania stays in Tanzania. You cannot say anything about it. If you say anything about it, you will see what will happen. We have your videos, we have your what, and in my mind, I'm thinking, but you have
It can't
videos that
get any
prove your
worse.
prove your criminality. Like,
Yeah.
how are you thinking I'm the one who should be worried about those videos? But well, those are the victims they have been used to. I later learned that Tanzania sexual violence, especially from Zanzibar, which
Mm,
everyone thinks the president coming from Zanzibar has, spread to the entire country, is the first thing they do. And it's not discriminative. They don't do it only on women, because they did exactly what I'm telling you to Boniface. So I tell her, you know what? If you're taking me home, please take me home. She said, "Ma'am, I'm telling you, you have to keep quiet. You'll be thankful that we are taking you back to your family." Yeah. So now we sit in the car again. I think now it's like 5 p.m. I could tell from like the rays of the setting sun around there. So we drive. The journey is also very long. And me, by this time, I thought we're like at the border. And I
mm,
thought they would drive me home, like bring me to Kampala.
mm,
But I kept wondering, but how are they going to take me to Kampala? Will they dump me at a police station, with a hospital, their embassy? How will that go? But anyway, I didn't think a lot about that. So I'm still blindfolded. It gets dark. We drive and drive and drive and drive, and yeah. So we reach. No, I didn't tell you that guy who lied to me that he's not from Dar, the one who was being nice.
mm.
When I'm leaving, he comes and says, "Oh, bye, my friend. I wish you all the best. I hope you get home safely." But after I see it, most of the guys first stay outside, and they eventually come into the car before we set off. And he's the guy that sits next to me. And he's obviously the guy that was seated next to me from Dar. because now he sits next to me and I smell familiar perfume because he had been sitting on that small mattress with me. And then I move my blindfold without them noticing, and I see, yeah, I see the clothes he was wearing and whatever. I see the bag where he kept picking his phone from and its ringtone. So now I know that he's the one, but I just keep quiet and we move.
So
So,
there is, before we go further, I mean, there's a question, and I think it's an important question: is how, if you don't mind describing for us, how helpful was the ambassador? I'm assuming this is Uganda's High Commissioner to Tanzania. Agatha, you're muted.
oh yeah, sorry. Now, of course, me, I didn't know who is helpful and in what way until
Yeah.
I arrived. So
Oh,
I
okay.
will now finish for you the story
Okay.
of
All
how
right.
I
So okay,
arrived.
fine. So now, okay. Oh, okay. Fine.
So
That's
now
okay.
we reach somewhere. It's the middle of the night, the dead of the night,
Mm,
and the guy seated on my right, that guy
mm,
moves out, and the car stops. The guy
mm,
moves out, and the woman sounds her warning again and says, "Agatha, what I've told you, don't say anything." I said, "Aren't you tired of threatening me already?" He said,
mm.
"I'm not threatening you. I'm just telling you that what will happen if you say something, you will see." So, so the light skinned guy now also talks to me as he's giving me my bag
Mm,
and says, Agatha, you can't say anything. Just go to your children, keep quiet, never come back to Tanzania. You have no business there.
mm,
Don't say anything. I say, okay. The driver in front hands me my passport. All along it was in his custody.
mm.
So they say, come out. They remove my blindfold and they say, come out, you are home. Okay, I come out. It's the middle of nowhere. It's a bush. I don't see anywhere. I know. I said, what do you mean I'm home? Where is this place? And this is the first time you're seeing after 4 days.
The first time you're seeing
Um,
land of any kind,
yeah, yeah.
you don't know what time
So
it is.
I don't know what time it is. I don't know where I am. I don't know how to get from there. So the woman says, "You're home. This is Uganda. Uganda is there. Mutukula border is there." She's pointing somewhere. You don't see even a light coming from there. Like it is still far because you can't see anything in sight. So I
Wow.
said, "But how am I supposed to get home? I don't have money. I don't have a phone." And I think she says something like, "You will figure it out." Wow. So for a moment, I worried about that, but immediately I thought, this is much better than being in this hell, in this car with killers, blindfolded, and in the same space with them like I've been. So like I immediately thought, there's no more danger I can be in than I have been in.
It can't get any worse.
No, but also at least now I can see I am not surrounded. They are not. So I move ahead, and the woman calls me again. Agatha, wait. And me, I think maybe they have come to give me some money to get home or something.
You are
She
really
comes and says, this.
optimistic, aren't you?
Yeah. She comes and says, the sweater, that sweater from that night.
The
And
smelly
it's,
one.
yeah, because they want their sweater. They can't leave you with any evidence.
Oh, they want it back.
Yeah, she came to ask for it.
Wow.
Yeah. So I take it off, I give it to her, and I start walking. No, I start limping.
You have your bag
And
now.
yeah, I have my bag. It was a backpack. I'd gone to Tanzania with just a backpack. So
Okay.
it's not heavy. It's on my back. I have my passport in the pockets. And I start limping. I now I walk a lot better. But that time,
Mm.
so as I am limping, I didn't know how long it would take me to get to the border. There's a border guy that passes. Now that border guy,
Mm.
I stop him. Now you're just taking another chance. You don't know if this is another criminal, but I knew that my feet wouldn't get me far.
Mm.
So the border guy first goes ahead and then turns and comes back and says, "Where did you come from? How did you get here?" Like
Meanwhile,
I tell
these
him,
people have driven off.
Yeah, they made a U-turn in the middle of the road and went back.
Wow.
So now the border guy comes like maybe 5 minutes after they have driven off and have walked
Why
just a
do I
short
think why
distance.
why why do I think they sent him?
Yeah, it's something I had not thought about, but later,
I think they sent
um,
him.
yeah. So I think so. So the border guy comes, says, "How did you get here?" Okay, I will help you. I tell him,
He was
I,
probably
I've
one
been
of them.
yeah, yeah, because I think so. I think they had coordinated with someone.
Yeah. Okay.
So the guy says, "Okay, I will take you." He's Tanzanian also, from how he's speaking English. He doesn't know
Mm.
it. But he says, "Okay, I'll take you. I'll help you." And he puts me on his border and takes me to the Tanzanian side of customs, and he waits for me. I delayed at the Tanzanian side because the guy kept looking at my passport and even asked, "Why did you overstay?" And I'm thinking, how do you overstay in Tanzania? Because at this moment I hadn't seen it in my passport. It's later when he gives me back the passport that I saw on the day we were detained. They had stamped in our passports order of departure within 2 days by your own means. So this was done on the 19th, and now I'm arriving on the 23rd. So I think that's what the guy is talking about. So when they were telling, because they had told people looking for me that they deported me. So they did that to show that they deported me on the 19th, which is Monday evening when I think they were with us. It's in my passport. The passport I got on the 23rd in the morning, because now this is the morning of Friday.
So meanwhile, this border guy is still waiting and watching what's
Yeah.
happening.
But meanwhile, the border guy was the person I asked what time it was, and he said it was 2:48 in the
A.M.
morning. Yeah, a.m. So he waits for me there. He had left his bike somewhere. Then I finish with that one, and he says, "I'm going to take you and show you." I had never been to Mutukula, so he said, "I'm going to take you and show you where the Ugandan side is." And he brings me, and we find an askari that he asks, and the askari is showing me. So the border guy goes back, and I said, "Oh my God, thank you very much. I wish I could take your number, but I even have no phone." And he says, "No, no, no, it's okay, it's okay." He asks me. He didn't ask me for any money. In my
He was
mind,
one
I
of them.
said, "Mommy." In my mind, I thought that he's such a nice guy. I kept thinking about him, how nice he is, until a day later when someone, like you've said, points that out. I hadn't thought about it. So yeah, now anyway, the customs side of Uganda, there was no one there. And now because they're the
It's
ones I'd
3
thought out.
a.m. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
they're the ones I had thought I'd ask for a phone from. So now I go back to that Askari and I ask him to help me with his phone. And he says, "We are not allowed the phone at work. But after the immigration office, there is a police station."
Mhm.
So I come and find the police station, the two police officers sleeping, but one wakes up as soon as I enter. So
Mhm.
I asked him to help me with his phone, and I called someone. And his first skeptical says, "How come you don't have a phone? Or where are you coming from?" And I tell him I had been kidnapped. I've just been brought back and left somewhere. And he's this skeptic said, "You see, these are security issues," but he was a good guy. So he gave me the phone, even hesitantly. So I call my sister and I am praying that she picks up. She has poor phone manners. Sometimes you can call and she doesn't pick. Oh, I thought it would be off. And I was wondering what I would do because I have no other phone number that I can remember offhand. So I call my sister and she picks up and she hears my voice and starts wailing. This is now when the police officer believes me because
Mhm.
she's hearing my sister wailing. "Oh my God, thank God you're safe. I let someone take you to the hospital, but we are in Lukaya. We are in Lukaya. We are coming. Stay there." And so she just hangs up
How do
and
how was she in Lukaya? How did they?
That's what I kept asking myself. How is she in Lukaya? It is 3 a.m. So I sit there and wait. That road to Mutukula is so bad. They got to
Yeah.
me at 6 in the morning. And that was the first question I asked. She was with Hagai Matsko and my cousin. How did you guys know I would be here? And they said, because they dumped Bonnie near his border, near the border to Kenya. So we thought, everyone thought they would also dump you here. So we
Actually,
wanted to
now
be
that
there.
no, actually now that you say it, I think that rumor, somebody even posted it on social media and said they'll dump her at Mutukula.
Yeah, yeah. So there was someone who had said that, but she had also got leads from other people, and now that's how
Okay.
the ambassador comes in.
Hmm.
So she remembered everything that I wouldn't have remembered. She remembered that we have a friend who used to be a personal assistant to Moesije a long time ago, Fred Moesije, when I think he was MP. And
So this
she
is your
asked for,
sister.
yeah, and she
Okay.
asked for Fred Moesige's number
Hmm.
and called him. And after she calls him, he promises to help. But now she also remembers that, so Amanyamshega is our uncle. He's married to our aunt. So she also remembers that they were in the bush with Uncle Amanya, and she calls him
Hmm.
and tells him, and now Uncle Amanya also calls Fred Mwesige. And the whole time, in fact, the Kenyans were telling me this weekend that that guy is the one they would also get information from, because I was told he sent ADCs, his ADCs to every police station in Tanzania. And he would call my sister back and say, I am doing whatever is possible. I have checked here, I have checked here. But at some point, I think he pressed so hard and they said they have been deported. And maybe someone mentioned that they have been deported by road. Because on Monday night, I think Tuesday morning, they lie that we are deported and people wait that we are about to arrive. So now
Oh, so they
my
had indicated that they would deport you at the border in Mutukula.
I think he just inferred,
Oh, okay.
because when he kept pressing and pressing, they said probably she's not in Dar anymore, but you can be sure she's going to be taken back to Uganda. So now he starts to realize that maybe they have,
Well, there's only
but
one way they could do that because the only border is really essentially Mutukula or Isinjiro if they had done that. But yeah.
And now many people say they can't take her to Sinjo, it is further, so it will be Mutukula.
Mm.
But she has also called many of the security acquaintances, even
Yeah.
the smallest ones, and some guys in ISO had told her that, if she was in Uganda, we would know. Because
Yeah.
there had been a rumor that someone had seen me in an SFC car. And the reason that rumor would be believed is of what has happened to other people that they have picked up in other countries and they end up in detentions here.
Mm.
So they first followed up on that. And yeah, so now,
Mm.
after she doesn't know what to do, she has seen how Boniface is. She has heard Boniface say he had me being tortured and screaming. And she
So
now
was
fears.
Boniface released before you?
Yeah, because the border to Kenya is nearer.
Okay.
It is 1,480 something kilometers from Dar to Mutukula.
Yeah.
So, and in fact, it's Haggai who kept giving her this hope, because for her, she was saying if she was alive, she would also be here. Because if they have released Boniface, why isn't she here? And Haggai tells her, look, it could be because the distance. And she said, yeah, I also remembered one day how we went for a wedding in Dar es Salaam and we spent 2 days driving. So she goes back home.
So
She had lied to my mother that my flight is the one that had been delayed after my mother had got a wind of it, had lied the same to my children. And she goes back home and she tells herself she had been with the rest at Agora and looking and going to the embassies and whatever. And she says, no, I cannot sleep. I cannot be in this bed, because what if she is dumped there and no one finds her? She had packed a suitcase full of clothes to just set camp in Mutukula and keep looking and whatever. So that's how she was on her way by the time I got there. Yeah. So yeah, the rest is done. When I come back, I find all that has been going on, and
One
and
quick
yeah, I
question. So you
yeah.
speak to your sister and it's 3 a.m. and they're in Lukaya. So what do you do between 3 a.m. and
It's
6?
now 6.
And I'm
The
saying
time.
before in the interim.
Oh. Yeah. It was the longest wait ever.
And
Anxiety. And
now
and
I
that
am, and
police
I'm
office,
sure at that point hunger set in because now you're back to normal
it
settings.
it actually didn't. My mind is still racing. It didn't. I'm just thinking about reuniting with my sister, seeing my children. I didn't feel hungry, but I was cold. Remember, they had taken away that sweater.
Sweater, yes.
This police officer was called Majid. He gave me his jacket. It is also very smelly, the police jacket. And he gives me a bench. Said, "You be like us and get some sleep here." But I couldn't sleep. But now I have spent like an hour telling him the story. He's a nice guy. He's feeling sorry for me, and then after he goes back for him to sleep, me, I couldn't sleep. But now I think I'm also excited about being free. So I start to just walk around that border. But I'm also trying to, because when I sit a lot, my feet swell.
Mm.
So I'd get up and walk a bit and then come back. And then I kept wondering what time they would arrive. So that's what I did. That's how 3 hours became another, like 10 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. I think so. When I come, mm, everyone who has come to get me, they are crying. When I'm telling them this story, they are crying. I didn't shed a tear, and they were wondering how. And I tell them, if you were in my position, you would feel so lucky that it wasn't worse, because I didn't see how we were going to get out of that alive. I didn't. Like, I thought would die. There was anything they could do. You are in the hands of those killers. They are backed by government. They don't care. Yeah. So yeah, I also thought they could have gang raped me, all of them. And so yeah, I just saw the positive out of it. I also saw the fact that maybe our ordeal would help shine a light on what has been happening to Tanzania on a daily basis to those ordinary people, and no one knows it. No one hears about it. Yeah, I kept thinking about that and said maybe there's something that will come out of it. Maybe. Yeah.
Okay, so look, Agatha, I really only have one more question, and then because it's just painful sitting through and listening to what you're saying.
Yeah, it is. It is. No, let me first say something that I've been saying that shocked me about the level of impunity and violence in Tanzania. I never thought I would say that Uganda is better than any country in terms of human rights and all that. But what still, up to now, I have not really come to terms with is how public officials and a police officer in whose custody you are, who knows you've seen him, people have seen him, calls thugs to take you to visit that torture. And he didn't care. Like, it was as if I do this every day and no one touches me. I get away with it. And I thought, wow, at least in Uganda, they kidnap you and start denying. Okay, apart from recently when someone was like Mafele. But I was shocked at that level. And I kept thinking that maybe, these guys are overzealous people, and the other leaders don't know what's happening. When I was saying that in the car after my sister and Hagai Matsuko came to pick me up, they said, but their leader put out a statement saying that yeah, they are dealing with foreign whatever, you know. So she's sort of condoning what's happening, what has happened to us, what they have done. And I said, wow. Yeah. So please ask your last question.
From your experience,
Hmm.
all of this,
Yeah.
what do you think we should learn? What don't we know? What have we missed? What what is it we need to be aware of?
Okay, so that one is that fighting for our rights and the rights of those around us comes at a price. You always have to sit back and ask yourself if you're ready to pay that price. I have asked myself that question so many times, and I have I have realized that however much I try, I cannot sleep when I know that someone is going through um, these abuses that we see. So even in that night, I kept thinking, it is a price you pay, and I in that moment, I was feeling so much pain. But in that moment, I found myself that night after the torture, I found myself thinking, like, there's this strange smirk on my face that I caught myself having and thinking, these guys have actually helped me overcome my fear, because now what else can you do to me? Yeah. So you just have to think through what is more important. I've always thought the quality of life, um, how we live is as important as life itself. I have never seen any point in saying, okay, let me keep quiet and live longer, but live in lack, in deprivation, in abuse. But also, I know that it doesn't mean you won't die if you keep quiet. So you you might as well die doing something that that is worthwhile, that can help us be in a better society, or other people you will leave behind. And I think that we need to rise up. I think that we are alive thanks to the noise people made. We don't have to have offices, we don't have to have guns like them, we don't have to have a budget and money. We just have to know that we need to fight for each other. We need to rise up and push back against what's happening. I really think, like that guy told me, we were saved by the voices of people. And I thought something good comes out of a very, very horrific situation like that. And you realize that, yeah, all the work you've done, regardless of the price that comes with it and the frustrations, is seen, is appreciated, and people were ready to stand up for us. I remember the moment these guys got to me, the first thing Haggai did was to call people to call off a protest that was supposed to happen that morning, and said, Agatha is here. And everyone in their own way really, really showed up and spoke for us and demanded our release. And I think up to now, Samia and her government don't know what hit them, because yeah, we have made sure it goes everywhere. So I think for me, that's really the lesson, that there's no two ways about it. We have all seen that even if we keep quiet, this dysfunctionality, this abuse will get to all of us. I have no regrets about it. And yeah, I'm just waiting to get back on my feet properly and continue. If the day comes and we have to die for this, well, yeah, we need to be prepared for that.
Agatha, I don't have anything else to say to you. So the only thing perhaps left for me to do is to thank you very much for sharing your experience honestly and with courage.
Thank you.